Ever caught yourself thinking, why is he so attentive one moment, then distant the next? Or maybe you've noticed he remembers tiny details about your life, but still keeps his emotional walls up. Let me tell you something, you're not imagining things. There's actually a fascinating pattern behind his behavior, and it's far more psychological than most people realize. Hey there. Today we're diving into the hidden signals men send when they're completely falling for you. But here's what makes this different. It's not about games or manipulation. It's pure psychology. When a man is genuinely into you, he rarely expresses it in the straightforward ways we might expect. Instead of simply telling you how he feels, he subconsciously tests boundaries, plays it cool, or sometimes even pulls back just to gauge your reaction. Sound familiar? That's because when he's emotionally overwhelmed, he's trying to protect his vulnerability while still maintaining that connection with you. Here's something you might not know. Men develop feelings differently. They typically don't lead with emotions right away. They lead with actions, observations, and yes, plenty of internal conflict. What appears to be confusing behavior is actually a complex blend of attraction, caution, and chemistry at work. In this video, I'm breaking down 6 powerful psychological patterns men display, often without even realizing it, when they're absolutely crazy about someone. We're not talking about basic, he texts you back signs here. We're exploring behaviors deeply rooted in male emotional psychology. So if you're tired of the guesswork, the overthinking, and constantly second-guessing everything he does, you're about to get the clarity you've been searching for. Let's uncover the real truth behind male psychology and how it reveals itself when he's completely hooked on you. Have you ever noticed any of these signs? Drop it in the comments below. You've probably heard people talk about mirroring and body language, right? But what if I told you that when a man is truly falling for you, he mirrors way more than just your physical movements? This first pattern is what I call the emotional echo, and it runs much deeper than most people realize. When a guy is emotionally drawn to you, his subconscious literally starts syncing with yours. Without even noticing what he's doing, he begins adopting your phrases, your texting style, even your energy levels. And no, it's not some calculated strategy or act. It's a deeply rooted psychological phenomenon connected to bonding and our human need for connection. This mirroring is like our brain's way of saying, I'm like you. You can trust me. We're on the same wavelength. When a man is falling hard, this happens almost automatically. Has a guy ever started using your unique expressions or inside jokes? Have you noticed him matching your communication style? That's this principle in action. For instance, if you're bubbly and expressive, he might suddenly use more exclamation points or become more animated when talking to you. If you're more thoughtful and reflective, you might notice him slowing his pace, lowering his voice, trying to meet you at your emotional level. Anyone seeing this happening in their relationships right now? And it goes beyond just communication. Next time you're with him in a group, watch closely. If you shift your posture, does he unconsciously adjust his? If you lean forward during conversation, does he mirror that movement? These subtle cues show his nervous system is literally synchronizing with yours. And yes, this happens much more intensely when feelings are deep. Here's the thing most people miss. Men don't mirror just anyone. They only unconsciously reflect people they feel emotionally safe with or deeply attracted to. So if he's picking up your unique expressions, your music preferences, or even your perspectives on things, it's not random coincidence. It's a signal he's emotionally invested. He's aligning himself with you mentally and emotionally because, in his mind, he already feels connected to you. There's also something I call emotional mirroring that few people recognize. When you're feeling down, does his mood shift too? Even if you haven't explicitly said you're sad. When you're excited, does his energy instantly pick up, even about something he normally wouldn't care about? That's his emotional state syncing with yours, a powerful sign of empathy and emotional resonance. And trust me, this is something men don't fake. Most don't even realize they're doing it. But don't mistake this for manipulation. True mirroring happens effortlessly when someone's emotionally attuned to you. It's instinctive, natural, and honestly, quite intimate. Have you experienced this with someone before? If you notice this behavior, pay attention to how consistent it is. Anyone can mirror momentarily, but a man who's genuinely falling for you will show a pattern over time. Eventually, you'll feel like you share an emotional language, finishing each other's thoughts, laughing at the same moments, or craving similar things without even discussing it. And here's something surprising. Mirroring often appears before he even understands his own feelings. His brain and body start adjusting to match yours while his conscious mind is still catching up. It's like his heart already knows he's drawn to you, while the rest of him is still figuring it out. So next time you're wondering if he's into you, don't just listen to his words. Watch how he reflects you. If being with him starts feeling like connecting with a more familiar version of yourself, that's not your imagination. It's the emotional echo showing how deeply he's already connected to you. And once you learn to recognize this, I promise you'll start seeing it everywhere. One of the most misunderstood behaviors in men who are secretly developing feelings is what I call calculated vulnerability. It's not about him suddenly pouring out his entire life story or expressing every emotion like in romantic movies. It's much more subtle and actually more meaningful. When a man is crazy about you, he doesn't just hand over his heart all at once. Instead, he offers small, carefully selected pieces of it, but only when he feels emotionally safe. He might reveal specific details about his past, share something personal that not many people know, or express a fear he typically keeps hidden. This isn't random oversharing. It's intentional and meaningful. These carefully chosen moments are like test balloons to see how you'll respond. And if you pass that emotional test, he starts letting you deeper into his inner world, one piece at a time. Have you experienced a guy doing this with you? What makes this so revealing is that men are often conditioned to hide their emotional depth. Society teaches them to appear strong, stay in control, and show confidence rather than vulnerability. So when a man shares a vulnerable part of himself with you, it's not weakness. It's actually one of the strongest indicators that he trusts you, values your opinion, and wants something deeper than surface-level connection. You might notice this in subtle ways. Maybe he casually mentions struggling with confidence in a past job. Perhaps he opens up about a family issue that affected him more than he let others see. He might even share something that made him feel insecure or powerless. These moments are gold because he's not sharing them for sympathy. He's sharing them to test emotional safety. He's carefully watching how you respond. Do you dismiss it? Do you judge him? Or do you listen, understand, and make him feel accepted? Calculated vulnerability also shows up in how he relaxes his guard specifically around you. He might be the confident, joke-cracking guy in every social setting, always in control, until he's alone with you. That's when you meet the quieter version who talks about his dreams, his doubts, the things he's still figuring out. Does anyone recognize this pattern? Here's something interesting. He may never directly talk about feelings or love. But the fact that he trusts you with his authentic self is his way of showing love. This behavior isn't something men consciously plan. It's instinctive. When he starts falling for you, his brain naturally searches for ways to form deeper emotional bonds. So instead of declaring his feelings outright, he'll open a small emotional door and see if you walk through it. If you do, he opens another. If you don't, he closes it quickly, and you may never get that access again. It's important to understand that calculated vulnerability is rare. Men don't do this with just anyone. You might hear phrases like, "I've never told anyone this before," or "I don't usually talk about this stuff." When you hear that, pay attention. That's not casual conversation. That's a significant emotional shift happening in real time. He's signaling that you're not just another person in his life. You're someone he's beginning to trust on a completely different level. So if you notice him confiding in you, especially about things that make him feel exposed or uncertain, recognize that this isn't accidental. It's emotional intimacy forming. It's his way of letting you in without having to say, "I'm falling for you." Because for him, actions speak louder than words, and letting you see the parts of himself he hides from everyone else, that's one of the most powerful expressions of all. Has anyone ever mentioned something random to you? Maybe a small detail about your childhood, your favorite coffee order, or a book you love, and then days or even weeks later, he brings it up as if you just told him? That's not coincidence or good memory. That's what I call intentional retention. And it's one of the clearest psychological signs a man is deeply into you. When a man is crazy about you, his brain becomes selectively tuned to everything about you. He starts collecting these little pieces of who you are, not just the obvious things, but those small, easily overlooked details. The way you like your pizza, that nickname your brother calls you, how your voice changes when you're tired. He's not remembering these things to impress you. He's storing them because you matter to him. Everything about you starts occupying space in his thoughts. Have you noticed someone doing this with you? The key difference here is intention. He doesn't just remember things to be polite or score points. He retains these details because he's emotionally invested. This attention is intentional because he uses it to connect with you more deeply. He might reference something personal when you least expect it, not to get credit, but because he genuinely knows it will make you feel seen and valued. He's showing you he's not just hearing your words, he's actually listening to you. This shows up in surprising ways. Maybe you once mentioned loving autumn mornings, and weeks later he sends you a picture of a beautiful sunrise with a simple, "made me think of you." Or perhaps you mentioned feeling anxious about big crowds, and now he subtly positions himself between you and others in busy places. These aren't grand gestures. They're small, thoughtful actions that prove he's emotionally tuned into you. Has anyone experienced something like this? What makes this so meaningful is that most people simply don't notice the small stuff. Most forget details quickly. But when a man is drawn to you on a deeper level, your voice becomes clearer in his world. He starts experiencing life through a lens that includes you. He walks past your favorite coffee shop and thinks of you. He hears a song you mentioned and smiles. Without conscious effort, you become integrated into his internal landscape. Intentional retention is also how he builds trust. By remembering and acting on small things you've shared, he's showing that your words have significance to him, that what you say stays with him. It creates emotional safety because you begin to feel truly gotten. He's not distracted or half listening. He's fully present with you in a way that's increasingly rare in our distracted world. It's also his way of standing out. When a man genuinely cares, he wants to be different from others in your life. He wants you to notice that he's not like previous experiences. He's paying attention to the authentic you, not just the surface-level version that's easy to see. What's fascinating is how strategic this attention often becomes. He might not mention something immediately. Instead, he stores it away, then uses it in a moment when it matters most. Maybe during a tough day, he reminds you of something you once said that showed your strength. Or when you're doubting yourself, he references a past success you'd forgotten. That's emotional intelligence in action. That's intentional care unfolding. So if you ever feel like he remembers more about you than even your closest friends do, take it as a significant sign. A man who's casually interested might compliment your appearance. But a man who's emotionally invested will remember your stories, your struggles, your strengths, and reflect them back to you in ways that make you feel deeply understood. That's the power of intentional retention, and it reveals just how profoundly you've affected him. Are any of you noticing this pattern with someone in your life right now? You can learn more about what a man truly feels for you by watching what his body does rather than what his mouth says. Words can be carefully chosen, but body language? That's raw, honest, and often completely unconscious. When a man is crazy about you, his body starts revealing his feelings in ways he can't control even if he wanted to. First, notice his orientation. When you're in the room, is he almost always positioned toward you, even when talking to others? Do his feet point in your direction? Does his chest face you? This happens instinctively because our bodies naturally turn toward what we're attracted to or feel connected with. It's not calculated. It's pure biology. And if you're the person he's drawn to, he won't even realize he's doing it. Have you noticed this with someone? Another major signal is proximity. Men who feel nothing special tend to maintain standard social distance. But when a man is into you, his body gradually closes that gap. Subtly, naturally, but definitely. He'll stand slightly closer than necessary. He'll lean in when you speak or find reasons to sit beside you. He might not touch you right away, but his comfort in your personal space speaks volumes. That magnetic pull toward you? That's attraction without words. You'll also notice shifts in how he carries himself around you. He might straighten his posture, adjust his clothes, or quickly fix his hair. These micro-adjustments reflect nervous energy and self-awareness. They're unconscious grooming behaviors that happen when someone wants to appear more attractive to a person they're interested in. His body is literally trying to impress you before his brain even catches up to what's happening. Now let's talk about eye contact. This one is huge. When a man is seriously into you, his eyes seek yours frequently, and not just during quiet moments. You'll catch him glancing at you when he thinks you're not looking, holding your gaze slightly longer during conversations, or momentarily looking at your lips while you speak. This visual behavior signals desire, curiosity, and a craving for deeper connection. And if his expression softens when your eyes meet, that's not casual interest. That's emotional vulnerability on full display. Does this sound familiar to anyone? But body language isn't always obvious. Sometimes the most telling signs are the subtle ones, like when he unconsciously mirrors your movements. He takes a sip of his drink right after you do. He crosses his legs similarly. He shifts his energy to match yours. This isn't conscious mimicry, it's biological alignment. His nervous system is literally synchronizing with yours, and he has no idea it's happening. Pay attention to his hands too. Are they relaxed around you or slightly restless? A man who's emotionally activated might fidget with his watch, tap his fingers, or touch the back of his neck. These aren't signs of discomfort. They're indicators of heightened awareness and anticipation. They reveal that being near you affects him physically in ways he can't consciously control. But perhaps the most honest signal of all is his smile. Not the polite social smile or the forced grin, but that soft, involuntary expression that appears when he watches you laugh or when you enter the room. It might flash for just a second before he catches himself, but if you see it, know that's genuine. That's the moment his emotions appear before his mind can mask them. So next time you're with him, don't just listen to his words. Observe his physical presence. His body will express things he's not ready to say out loud. And once you know what to look for, you'll start recognizing all the unspoken signals of how deeply he feels for you. His words might hold back, but his body always tells the truth. Have you ever caught someone's body language giving away feelings they weren't expressing verbally? One of the most misunderstood yet revealing signs that a man is truly falling for you is when he begins what I call safety testing. This isn't about playing games or pushing boundaries. It's about assessing something absolutely crucial: emotional safety. This isn't about testing your loyalty or trying to manipulate your feelings. It's much more subconscious than that. When a man is emotionally drawn to you, what he really wants to know is, can I be my authentic self with her? Can I trust her with the parts of me I usually protect? Have any of you experienced this before? At first glance, these tests might seem confusing. He might make a slightly personal joke to gauge your reaction. He might share something a bit more vulnerable than usual and carefully watch how you respond. Or he might express an unpopular opinion or reveal a small insecurity, not to shock you, but to discover, will she accept this side of me too? This is where many women get confused. When he suddenly seems different, maybe more withdrawn, quieter, or even slightly moody, it's easy to think he's losing interest. But often what's actually happening is he's conducting a subtle test. How safe am I with you when I'm not at my best? When I'm not being charming or perfect, but just real? Emotional safety means everything to a man who's serious about you. Remember, vulnerability goes against so much of what he's been taught about being strong, independent, and in control. So when he opens up, even in small ways, and shows you glimpses of his emotional depth, he's taking a risk. He's watching carefully. He's feeling out your response. He's testing, not to manipulate, but to protect his heart. Can anyone relate to seeing this behavior? Sometimes he might bring up a sensitive topic just to see if you'll create space for it without judgment. Other times he'll hint at past pain, not seeking pity, but checking if you'll see him differently afterward. This testing is subtle. You won't always recognize it happening, but if a man is emotionally connected, he's looking for signs that you're a safe place for his authentic self. One of the most telling indicators? He starts showing emotions he normally conceals, perhaps frustration, uncertainty, or vulnerability. Feelings he doesn't usually share with friends or colleagues. If he feels secure enough to let those emerge around you, you're seeing the most genuine version of him. And if you meet those moments with understanding rather than criticism, you earn something far more valuable than his interest. You earn his trust. Has anyone noticed a guy doing this with them? This safety testing also appears in how he responds to your boundaries. He might gently push against them, not to disrespect you, but to see if you'll stand firm. Why? Because a man who's serious about building something meaningful wants to know, can I trust her strength? Will she protect herself? And by extension, will she protect what we're creating together? It seems counterintuitive, but testing your boundaries is often his way of checking your emotional integrity. This isn't about passing or failing. It's about creating emotional resonance. When you meet his subtle tests with authenticity, patience, and warmth, something clicks for him internally. That click is what tells him, yes, this is someone I can be genuine with. This is someone I can truly let in. So if you ever notice him opening up, then pulling back slightly, then showing another layer of himself, that's not mixed signals. It's a sign he's trying to feel emotionally safe with you. And when a man finds that safety, that's when he begins to fall in love for real. Because ultimately, love isn't just about attraction. It's about trust. And trust always begins with safety. Are you creating that space in your relationships? When a man is truly crazy about you, there's one thing that speaks volumes above grand gestures or sweet words, and that's consistency over time. Think about it. Almost anyone can bring their A game at the beginning. Pretty much anyone can be charming and attentive for a few weeks, maybe even a month. But what truly reveals a man's genuine feelings? What shows how deeply he cares about you? It's whether his effort remains steady when the initial excitement starts to fade. Consistency is like a silent love language. It's how a man demonstrates that his feelings for you aren't just a temporary emotional high. They're rooted in something more substantial. He doesn't just check in when he's bored or has nothing better to do. He shows up because he genuinely wants to build something meaningful. His words align with his actions. And most importantly, his actions are reliable, not sporadic. Have you experienced this kind of consistency before? You'll notice it in seemingly small things. He keeps his promises, even the tiny ones. If he says he'll call, he calls. If he says he'll be somewhere, he's there. You don't need to chase him, remind him, or decode his intentions because he makes them clear through consistent behavior. That's how a man who's emotionally invested acts. He wants you to feel secure, not confused. He wants to be someone you can depend on, not just someone who excites you momentarily. Here's what's fascinating. Consistency isn't always dramatic or flashy. Sometimes it looks like good morning text just to start your day with a smile. Other times, it's remembering to ask about that difficult work situation you mentioned. It's him being present during your challenging moments, not just your highlight reel. It's the reassurance of knowing he's there, even when schedules get hectic, life gets complicated, or things aren't perfect. That's when his true feelings become most visible, not during the spectacular moments, but in the quiet, ordinary ones in between. Consistency also means emotional reliability. He's not hot one day and cold the next. He doesn't vanish when things get tough and reappear when it's convenient. If something's bothering him, he communicates about it. If something's troubling you, he notices and responds. That emotional steadiness creates trust. And trust forms the foundation of authentic connection. Because no matter how intense the chemistry, if his energy isn't consistent, you'll always be trying to guess where you stand. But when a man is truly into you, you won't have to guess. He'll show you repeatedly through his consistent presence. Does this resonate with anyone's experience? What makes consistency so powerful is that it creates emotional safety. And when a woman feels emotionally secure, she can be her authentic self. That's exactly what a man in love wants. Not just your attention, but your true self. That's why those who are serious don't just want to impress you once. They want to show up for you consistently until you trust they're genuine. Let's be honest, anyone can appreciate you on your best days. But a man who remains consistent through your worst days? That's someone who's truly emotionally invested. That's someone who's not just chasing an idealized version of you. He's building a future with the real you. Have you found this kind of consistency in your relationships? So if you're seeing someone and wondering how he really feels, stop focusing on how spectacular his gestures are at the beginning. Watch how steadily he walks alongside you as time passes. Because love that's authentic doesn't burn bright and fade quickly. It builds gradually, intentionally, consistently. And that's the kind of love worth trusting. Wouldn't you agree? Now that we've explored these 6 powerful psychological patterns men display when they're completely falling for someone, here's what I want you to take away from this. Real connection isn't about decoding complicated signals. It's about recognizing consistent patterns that reflect genuine emotional investment. When a man is truly into you, his actions won't just touch the surface of your life. They'll resonate through his words, his body language, his effort, his emotional presence, and most importantly, his consistency over time. These patterns aren't about manipulation or games. They're subconscious signals, little emotional fingerprints he leaves without even realizing it. And once you start noticing them, you'll clearly see the difference between someone who's casually interested and someone who's genuinely captivated by your essence. The truth is, when a man starts falling hard, he reveals it in ways he doesn't even intend to. Through thoughtful attention, vulnerable moments, authentic presence, and consistent care. That's what makes these signs so meaningful. They come from the heart, not from calculation. So what should you do next? First, reflect on your current connection. Does he mirror your energy and habits? Does he share vulnerable parts of himself in unexpected moments? Does he remember the things that matter to you, not just what's important to him? Does his body language soften and open around you? Has he tested your emotional safety, and how did you respond? And most importantly, has he shown consistency, not just initially, but over time? If you're nodding along and recognizing these patterns, you might be experiencing something genuine and beautiful. But if you're not, if you feel confused, uncertain, or constantly questioning what he wants, don't ignore those feelings either. Because when a man is truly into you, you won't feel like you're constantly solving a puzzle. You'll feel seen. You'll feel secure. You'll feel chosen. Does this resonate with anyone? I encourage you to raise your standards for what real connection looks like. It's easy to settle for attention that fluctuates, for promises without follow-through, or for chemistry that fizzles out after a few weeks. But I promise you, there's a different kind of love out there. The kind that feels steady, intentional, and respectful. That kind of love might not be the loudest at the beginning, but it shows up consistently over time. And that's where the real magic happens. Start observing more than chasing. When you take a step back and truly watch how someone shows up in your life, the truth reveals itself much faster than any guessing game ever could. Trust your intuition and your feelings. Do you feel calm in his presence? Do you feel emotionally safe? Do you feel energized or drained after spending time with him? The answers will tell you more than words ever could. And finally, if this video helped you understand something you hadn't noticed before, or if it gave you clarity about what you truly deserve in love, share it with someone who might need this perspective. Save it. Rewatch it when you need a reminder. Let it be your guide to recognizing that the love you're seeking isn't impossible to find, but it does require discernment. Because ultimately, the right man won't just catch your attention. He'll earn your heart through consistent presence, emotional honesty, and effort that remains steady through time. And that's where real, lasting love begins. What do you think? Share your experiences in the comments below.